Very good evening and welcome to another episode of Law and Order. And in today's discussion, we'll be focusing on dispute resolution with the primary focus on the importance of arbitration for business. To take us through all of this, we have an expert in the house with us. We have the chairman of the Sri Lanka National Arbitration Centre, Mr. Sujiva Samaravira. A very good evening to you.
Good evening.
And welcome to Law and Order. Now, we do realize that in the day-to-day activities of the common man, arbitration is not a very common word that comes across. So let's start off the discussion by explaining what exactly arbitration is and what it encapsulates.
Arbitration is an alternative business issues resolution method. That is, any business can have conflicts. Any business can have issues with regard to the transaction of business or the way that they are doing business. But there should be a system where the businesses should get together and settle those disputes without taking much time, because business is growing with time. So arbitration is a method, an alternative business issues resolution system which is away from the courts. People can go to courts to resolve their problem. What happens today is, with the congestion in the court, obviously there is going to be time. There is going to be a lot of time taken waiting in the queue to settle your issue. And then the courts have to function, and they have to hear the case. Then it will have the two lawyers, two sides arguing on the case, and there is time factor. So this particular dispute resolution method of arbitration will save your time, confidentiality in the case of business, and also the speed in finding a solution. So this is, in other words, a shorter cut to resolve your business issues.
And if I may ask, who can opt for arbitration and how can you go about the proceedings? Can you apply for it as an individual, or does it have to be a registered business organization?
No. Now, coming back to the previous thing, two organizations can have issues. Then there should be a platform for them to resolve the issues. What happens is, this is coming under Act of Parliament of 1995. So each document, when you sign a contract, there is an arbitration clause which you need to sign up. If you look at those contracts that you have gone through, you can see in any contract you have a termination clause and you have arbitration clause as well. So once the arbitration clause is there, then you are paving the way for a dispute resolution system, which can be held in Sri Lanka or any other country. So that is the first step we tell the industrialists, is that when you are signing a contract, to be careful and make sure that you have the arbitration clause embedded in the contract, so that there is a flexibility in settling issues, and also the country which you want to have the arbitration. So we would normally prefer Sri Lanka, because if you are running a business in Sri Lanka, we should also tell the other party whether we could come into the destination in Sri Lanka, because as a Sri Lankan businessman, it will be easier for us to handle the case here.
Now that we know what exactly arbitration is and how you can opt for arbitration, let's come to the crux of the matter. How important is arbitration for business organizations?
You can't have a business without a conflict. They're invariably going to have a conflict with a business. But here, we are looking at two business entities. That is, two business entities competing each other's products, and they need confidentiality. Whether you are doing a business or I am doing a business, we don't want to talk about it in the public and make our secrets out. But we have a dispute to settle. So the best thing is that go on arbitration and have confidentiality in settling your issue. The second thing is about the speed. We can't go to courts, wait till everything gets in place for us to give a judgment. Then it will prolong the case, the cost and the time. Those things also been addressed in arbitration. We have a specific time period. We can agree, the two arbitrators can agree on a specific time period. Okay, we will finish this case within 6 months or 1 year. We'll give you a kind of judgment for this case. So we are sure that this dispute is going to end within the next 6 months or to 1 year. not undefinite situations like in the courts anywhere in the world. So that's one thing. Then the cost. We know the cost that you're going to incur when you have a legal case, which I don't have to explain to you. So in this particular instance, you can even plan your costs. We know how much the cost that's going to incur within the next 6 months or so. And moreover, we can get back to business, because otherwise we'll be fighting on till the cows come home and there'll be no business. So it's very healthy for a business organization to get into this kind of dispute resolution.
Now, there are clear advantages of opting for arbitration. Now, if I ask a follow-up question to what you just said, let's say an entity or an organization goes for a lawsuit, they explore that option. So while the case is pending, can you still opt for arbitration? Can you go for both simultaneously?
No. I would rather, they can go for two things. So I'd like you to first finish the arbitration. If you don't have a solution, then you can go for a court case. But initially, we have to, looking at the contracts of both sides, agreeing on the two parties, we first initially look at the arbitration and see whether you can get a judgment or award. And that can be taken to high courts and just justify the situation. Then you can carry on. But court procedure is totally different to arbitration.
Right. And now that we're in the midst of a pandemic, can organizations still opt for arbitration? Does it still work as an organization?
Definitely. Because we believe in high-tech operations. We have Zoom arbitrations going. At the moment, every day we have about 3 to 4 arbitrations going. People can be in various places and then contribute to the arbitration system, so that it's all organized. We don't have to physically be present now. Even the documentation can be shared through the system. We have a center at Vidya Mavata, and from there we monitor all those arbitrations, and the judges, the arbitrators, the lawyers, the defendants, everybody in various places can join and do the arbitration. So that's simple as that now with the technology, you know.
Yes. Now let's talk a bit about the National Arbitration Center as well. What are the facilities provided by the center as of now?
We actually started in 1985. That's, I think, we're the oldest center, which is supported by many professional and business organizations, as organizations like chambers, professional organizations, so that we facilitate the arbitration process. We have a list of arbitrators. Somebody wants to take certain amount of, to see who the arbitrators available in Sri Lanka. We have the list. We have the infrastructure in place. We have the stenographers or whatever you want in terms of your infrastructure facility to conduct your arbitration. Then we have recording facilities and, everything which is compared to any international arbitration center, maybe in Singapore, in Malaysia, we can give you that service. And also, we can do international arbitrations from Sri Lanka. That's the most important thing. People think that doing arbitrations and running arbitration centers will only local support, but it is a good foreign exchange. We're now discussing, we have contacts with foreign arbitration centers around the world, and they also help us to do this arbitrations in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is a neutral venue. Unlike our neighbor India or Pakistan or any other country, people will like to come to Sri Lanka. And this is one of the key issues, key factors that can help us to develop foreign exchange. The arbitrators will come here, the arbitration will be held here, and it will take 2 or 3 weeks. Of course, unfortunately, with the COVID situation, we will not be able to promote tourism, but it is also promoting tourism. Because the arbitrators are not poor people who are coming, they are rich people, lawyers, professionals around the world. So we have done those arbitrations in Sri Lanka. But now what you're trying to do is, with the Zoom and technology, I will talk to you what we are going to do in the future. With the technology, it's very interesting to know. We're trying to promote international arbitrations on the net, on the sky, on the globe that we have, on a cloud. So which is very important. The other factor is about going away from commercial arbitration, whether we can go into different areas in arbitration. For example, sports arbitration. It's one other very lucrative trade in the world. We have top sportsmen here whom we can develop them as arbitrators. And they can be the top arbitrators in the world for sports matter resolutions. Then we have logistics and shipping arbitration, which is also very, very costly. And you know, in the past we saw with these issues we found with contaminations and ship companies coming and having problems in Sri Lanka, those also go for arbitration. And unfortunately, it is not here. Therefore, we lose a lot of foreign exchange. So that is the focus of the Sri Lankan National Arbitration Centre, to take it to different levels, take it from the Sri Lankan levels to international level. So that is our strategy and target.
You spoke about different facets in arbitration. What are the current areas that we are practicing right now in Sri Lanka in terms of arbitration?
Yeah, so we have banking, insurance, construction in a big way, sports, not very much, but enough. Then maritime and shipping. Then all commercial disputes like invoicing to various frauds, that kind of situation as well. So we are actually covering all the areas. Banking, insurance sector is huge. If you take construction sector, which is a very important area, because construction sector can have many disputes. So that is one area that we are looking, even internationally. The Sri Lankans have now gone and developed ourselves into a port city complex. We recently met the Honorable Minister, then Mr. Newart Cabral, was the Finance Minister, and said that we want the National Arbitration Centre also to be recognized by the port city. Because you cannot forget the fact that the locals are also involved in the port city business. And it is not only catered for international people, for the Chinese or the Americans or the British. There are collaborators from Sri Lanka who is going to invest in that particular area. And also, there are certain construction companies going to do construction. Sewerage companies, service companies, all that. So obviously, that centre is going to have disputes. So then, earlier there was a case that only the the port city will only have their own arbitration centre. But we made deliberations to the minister and said, no, we want also to our centre to be recognized, all the other centres in Sri Lanka to be recognized, which is very well received and taken off. And now today, I can proudly say, thanks to the Honourable Minister, that we can also take part in arbitrations in the port city, which is one of the biggest economic cities in the world. So that is another step forward towards developing of arbitration within our countries.
Right. Connecting to that on investment, as a country looking for investments to come in, how important is it to have a strong system of arbitration in place to attract future investors?
You're spot on, because that's one of the most important things that we need to bring in, the investment. One thing is the investors are looking for a very kind of a climate which they can operate in a very flexible manner. One thing is the labour laws is one side. The other one is the country's taxation and various other laws, and also how to dispute your resolution methods. Arbitration is one of the key areas. So they will look at whether we have an independent arbitration centre, which is not sort of influenced by anybody, professionally run, so that they have confidence in coming and investing, because they know once the case is being heard, once it's gone for arbitration, you are given a fair hearing. That's one of the key areas for people to have confidence in investing. So having a strong arbitration centre in a country will obviously induce the foreign investors to come and at least look at the possibility of investing. I'm not saying that just because there's arbitration the people are going to invest. There should be markets, there should be flexibility in taxation, there should be labour laws which is flexible. But this is also an important factor, because you can run a business, you can get into an issue which is very common, but then how do you get out of it? How do you sort of resolve your matter amicably through the arbitration system which is recognized world over. So for us to build up this arbitration center as a country will always give you that indirect benefit of investor confidence.
Now in Sri Lanka, we don't really talk a lot about arbitration. What do you think is the reason for this? Because we see most often than not people still go for lawsuits and not arbitration. What do you think is the main reason behind this?
Yeah, the main reason is actually we are responsible for it. In the first place, we must take that responsibility. We have not educated the business community thus far. They need to understand the cost effectiveness, the speed of resolution of your issue, the confidentiality, the whole gamut of benefits that you get in arbitration. For us, our center is now starting to educate the business people through the chambers and various others. I mean, there is a fair amount of companies, bigger companies who knows about arbitration and they have their clauses. But don't forget that Sri Lanka is not only larger companies, small, medium companies needs this arbitration. So that is why we are taking this training aspect. We do training in Jaffna, we go to provinces, we collaborate with the district chambers to educate even the smaller business people the importance of arbitration and to have those arbitration clauses embodied in your contract that you sign. That's why people ignore that. So obviously when you ignore it, you have no other choice but to go seek support or seek assistance from the legal system in Sri Lanka, which is good, but it is time taking. You know what happens when you go to courts. I don't have to explain to you. So do you want your business to go through that suffering? By the time you come out and settle your business issue, your business is no more because your competitor has gone. People are not going to wait for your products to come into the market. So that is why as a center we go and educate the business people. Small people should be also educated because they are the guys who are becoming the middle level and they are the guys who are going to be large. So you need to educate the smallest business people, even the SME, in the smallest possible way about dispute resolution. So that is as a center we are doing. Then we have a training area where we go and do lectures through our partner organizations.
Like you mentioned, I think it's very vital that we do raise awareness, especially among SMEs as well, which is a very important sector in the Sri Lankan economy. Now, coming back to something you mentioned earlier, you spoke about arbitrators coming, how we have the option of getting arbitrators to come here and have international arbitrations as well. So something I noticed there is that you mentioned that an arbitrator doesn't necessarily have to be a legal professional. He or she can have expertise in another facet as well. So how exactly can you be an arbitrator? What's the process? What are the prerequisites involved?
Now, that's another important thing. Now, if you look at internationally, if you compare centers like Singapore and Malaysia, you have lawyers, but at the same time, other than the lawyers, you have the professionals working. You have engineers. We have also engineers, a lot of engineers with arbitrators. Then we have technical people, architects, or arbitrators, business people, commercial people as arbitrators, because they understand the subject very well rather than a lawyer looking at the subject and understanding. I'm not saying that lawyers shouldn't be there. They are there. We have about 60 to 70% lawyers who are into arbitration. But we want to have more professionals coming in for arbitration because the nitty-gritties of that particular profession is understood by the professional in that particular area. It is not a kind of a judgment that you want to pass against, of a business. But it is something that people have to look at in terms of resolution, amicable resolution, which is good for both parties. So in those terms, professionals become very handy. How to get yourself involved in arbitration? Yes, you have 20, 30 years of experience in Sri Lanka. We have a system of registering arbitrators. And also we have periodical training programs to become a certified arbitrator. So we're looking at those kind of people who wants to come and join us. It's all welcome. So we have the National Arbitration Center. through the professional organizations, you can always join us.
And on an ending note, let's discuss the future plans of the organization in order to raise awareness throughout the country.
As any organization, you know that we need to take up to different levels, and we need to develop ourselves from where we are today to a next level. As a country, we need a paradigm shift. We lost so many years of our best commercial, social, and all the other interesting life things that we lost for so many years. Business is one thing that we've lost. But today, the time has come to develop ourselves into more IT-based, cloud-based systems, because COVID has pushed us to do that. So what we've done is, we will be the first center in Sri Lanka. You know, the courts have been fully computerized and digitalized. We will be also doing the same thing within the next 2 months. We will also inform you when it's fully done through the Sri Lanka Telecom. We are in a partnership to start this collaboration, where we will digitize all the processes of arbitrations, so that we are geared to do international arbitrations and to also give a expedite, speedy, efficient service through the available technology that we have. We will bring in even technologies like blockchain we brought in. The latest technology will be brought in. On the other hand, we will also upgrade the Sri Lankan Arbitration Center. On the other hand, what we are trying to do, as you very correctly said, we are going to attract the foreigners to look at Sri Lanka, because we have a fully equipped IT center, IT-based arbitration center, for them to have confidence. So that is our plan.
With the development of technology, we can see that arbitration has become more accessible and more affordable to all business organizations, especially the SMEs sector of Sri Lanka. So with that, I would like to extend my heartiest gratitude to Mr. Sanjeeva Samaravira, Chairman of Sri Lanka National Arbitration Center. Thank you very much for enlightening all our viewers on the importance of arbitration, what exactly arbitration, what it encapsulates, and the plethora of benefits you can derive by opting for that option. So with that, we wrap up today's edition of Law and Order. Stay tuned with us for more updates. Thank you and good night.